tuning ourselves to different frequencies. And just like the radio, when you tune yourself to a certain frequency, you get what that frequency has to offer you. Welcome to the frequency that's all about turning you into a greater version of you. Welcome to the podcast that's offering you greater. You are now tuned into the Greater Existence Podcast with me, the Manifest Mentor, Brian Hyppolite.
Welcome to the Greater Existence Podcast. I'm your host, Brian Hyppolite, the Manifest Mentor, and today with me is Tutson, the time collapse guru. You've seen my brother on previous episodes. He's came by, he's triggered a few people already in previous episodes, but he comes through with truth every single time. I love this dude. I'm honored to have him here. I'm honored to share the stage with him in front of the camera and off the camera to do life with him. And I know that even if he trigger you a little bit, he gonna give you something that's gonna show you how to get to the other side of whatever that trigger revealed. Because if you've been reading my books and stuff like that, you know that trigger is there to let you know what you need to change and what you need to heal. Triggers reveal a whole lot of things. So I like my bro, because if you're gonna say this is the type of person that triggers people, it's the type of person that reveals people to things that they need to change. So I'm glad to have you here with me, bro. Good to see you again.
Pleasure.
You know, we just had a powerful time with the Greater Existence Workshop.
Yes.
Tell me about that. What was your experience?
You know, just being in a space of people that's dedicated to elevation over a period of 2 or 3 days. That when you do that with that level of intention, you're always going to have just amazing things happen.
Yeah.
Like, you can't script it. You can't, predict it.
Right.
Like they say, life is stranger than fiction.
Right.
That's what happens when you do that. So
Some
this
shit
weekend,
you can't make up.
You can't make it up.
Yeah.
And this weekend has been just that. You know, we've seen elevation, but most of all, you saw the hearts of people, and that's what was moved. That is what moved me the most. Is seeing the hearts of people.
Okay.
And when you look at the world today, and you see that, you hear on the news, all the hate, all the fighting, all of this, and I've always said that. I actually had a little video I shot on Facebook that said, what is your world? What is your love quotient? Meaning, what do you focus on the most? So there's the belief that there's so much hate, there's so much, divisiveness, there's so much division, there's so much, battling one against the other. But is that really the world we live in? And is that really the essence of people? No, the essence of people is at the core is their heart and the love that they are.
Right.
And putting them in a position where they can be around other love opens that up and lets that be shown that is the dominant force in the world. And this weekend we see that manifesting right before our eyes.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely. Yeah. Let's clap it up for that. Let's clap it up for that. Yeah. We got a live studio audience in here today. Manifest University. How y'all doing? Y'all doing good? Okay. That's right. We in here. We are in here. So, time collapse guru. Where did that come from? How did that start? And why was that something that you found to be what would represent what you were doing with your energy?
Time collapsing came from the idea that it takes time to change. And when you look at when change happens, we think that it happened over a period of time. It took me, 6 months to do it. It took me, 1 year. But actually it happened in one moment. It was just one moment where you made a decision, where you finally made that decision. Now, it actually took you, it may have taken you 6 months to get to make that decision. It may have took you a year to get to make that decision.
Right, it might have took all those accumulation of events and circumstances and all that,
to get to that point where you finally say, okay, I'm deciding, I'm done with this, and I'm changing right now. But the change happens in the moment. So my thing is, how can I collapse the time from when you say you want it and when you actually decide to do it? because we talk about what we want all the time.
Right.
But we don't make decisions. See, decisions, when you decide something...
Let's go ahead and do that. Let's put that in there. Let's
So
put
when
that
you
in there.
decide something, the word decide, the root word is the word decide is side. It means homicide, suicide. Pesticide means to kill off.
Right.
Right? So when you make a decision, when you actually decide, you kill off all other options. There's no going back. You know, you told a story the other day, I mean, in the workshop about a woman that was getting in a relationship for 27 years suffering from physical abuse. And one day she just decided and changed. I heard a similar story, and when was asked the lady, what made you finally leave? And she said, I got tired of him beating me. Up until that point, she wasn't tired yet.
She may have not liked it. She may have not preferred it. But clearly she hadn't decided.
She hadn't decided. It hadn't been bad enough for her to decide no more. It's at the point of no more where change happens.
Okay.
So how do we get people from...
It's at the point of no more that change happens. You got that?
So how do we get the person from when they express wanting change to actually that point of no more? How fast can we collapse that? And the fastest way we can collapse that is to remove the lies that they tell themselves that they're actually doing something. See, that's the part of it. Is you think you're doing something, you think you're doing this, but most of this part is you're getting ready to get ready.
Right.
Getting ready to get ready, which is okay. You get to do that. But what you don't get to do is claim credit for actually making the decision when all you've been doing is getting ready to get ready. And being able to remove that veil from people's eyes so they can actually see that that's what they're doing, that's how we collapse time.
Wow. And so you've been doing this as a life coach.
Yes.
High performance coach.
Now
certified high performance coach.
Yes.
What does that mean?
So certified high performance, well, first let's start off with me.
Okay.
When I started off, I looked at the industry of life coaching, and I said it's kind of like some kind of pseudo therapy, meaning we even, I was just thinking about this the other day when we had that person that came into the call, the morning calls, manifest morning calls, and they professed to be a life coach, and they had this method, and their first step was to heal the inner child. Like, this is not a licensed psychologist. This is a person that decided to become a life coach, whatever their credentials are, but they decided to become a life coach. But their first step is to heal the inner child. That is pure psychology. That's a psychological, she didn't create that term.
Right.
That's a term that she got from the psychological field. And so much of life coaching had started to become that type of thing where you get into a session, the person asks you, okay, what are you working on? What's your limiting beliefs? How can we overcome them? What are we working on next? And it's the same thing over and over and over again. And I was like, that's not change. That's not helping anyone. That's not coaching. I mean, it does something, but we're not looking for small changes.
Right.
See, if you want small changes, all you have to do is do something different.
Right.
Read a book, change a word out of your mouth. But if you want quantum changes, if you want something that changes like generations of things and patterns, then you have to change paradigms.
Yeah.
And with the change paradigms,
you got to change some paradigms in here. You got to change paradigms.
So to change paradigms, that's not it. That's not the pathway. Could you get there? Possibly. But time is not. Have you ever heard the term time is life? I mean, time is money.
Right.
But time is not money. Time is life.
Time is life.
We don't have time to be sitting up here healing over something that happened 20 years ago, and we're going to work on this for 18 months to get you to heal from something that was 20 years ago.
Right.
Like, we got life to live.
Right. We got to deal with right now.
Right now.
And deal with what we want to create in the future.
Right now.
There's nothing back there.
No, there's nothing back there. It's dead.
That's why I never took the title of a life coach and created the title Divinity Coach. Because I don't profess to be at a level in life that I could teach you how to live it. But what I can do is, regardless what you bring to me, direct you back to your divinity. Look at it how your divinity would handle it, and then say, well, why don't we move from there? And that's why it never fails. But life coaching, to me, from my observation, and we've had a conversation like this before, it seemed like a lot of report what you're feeling. It was like a scheduled journal appointment.
Yes.
And I don't want to be your journal and just hear how you feeling and what you thinking, and then say, all right, well, this is what you do to be better, and then to hear from you next month just to monitor how you're feeling at that point in time. That's not what I'm here for. That's not what my energy and my purpose is here for.
Yes.
So it's always to, like you said, provide you with the ability to maximize versus making some small adjustments.
Yeah. And recently, last year, I got certified with Brendan Burchard, high performance coaching.
Okay.
And he was the first person that I heard that mirrored my message and came back to it's coming back to what you said, is how do we start and give you scientific, systematic ways to move the needle right now in your life? What's the scientific, systematic way to move that we know works?
Yeah.
And his system was second to none, including mine, in doing that particular thing.
Starting from right here. And drastically moving the needle.
You know what
forward.
I want to add? I don't know if people really understand this about when people say science. When people say science, what they're saying, when they say the science shows this, the science shows that, all that means is observation.
Observation.
That's all it is. Right. Science is just observation. There's nothing special about it. It's a systematic observation to try to remove bias so you can see with clarity. But it's just a systematic observation. That's all it is. It's not some higher thought process.
Right.
Science has never created anything.
Right.
It's just only observed what has already been already been here.
And recorded.
Yeah. Then science hasn't discovered anything, hasn't created anything. It's just observed what's here. So in this particular case, this whole high performance thing was the science behind it was an observation of the highest performing people and what it is that they do. And when we say high performing, we're not just talking about finances or career. We're talking about all across the board. These people had it all. They had it in their relationships. They had it all across the board. And holistically, that's what I built my life on. And so to find something that was already in place to help people get to that place, that was really powerful. So that's, now I merged the two.
Okay.
Now I merged the two. So deal with freedom coaching, which is getting people to like let go of the things that are stopping them and move into the power, the God power, connect to that, be able to use that right now and not get tripped up. And then we also bring into the high performance things, which allows them to actually elevate their intention and their ability to use intention right now. Yeah.
That's powerful, and that's what the Time Collapse Guru is all about.
That's what it's all about.
Moving in that way, in that direction.
Absolutely. And
so not only do you do this with individuals, you do this for corporations as well. Stuff with groups.
Yeah.
The cities have called on you to speak with some people. Is that
not cities, but different organizations.
Okay.
And soon want to work with relationships.
Okay.
Soon want to work with relationships because the highest form of neglect is not to have intention. So if relationships, what I've currently realized about relationships and how important they are is this. don't know anyone that signed up in life to say, I want a whole bunch of X's in my life.
Yeah.
Like, right? And no one signed up for that. But we that's how we end up living our life. And then we normalize that situation.
Having a string full of X's and
like
experiences.
That's the experience. Like, we got to go through the shit to get to the right one type of situation. But with every one of those X's, especially when we deal with marriage, when you've made a commitment at that level, there's damage that leads the way, that's left behind.
In the wake of those things,
to that stuff. So, like, let's start bringing intention, because relationships are just like anything. When you neglect them, they're going to fall apart. So neglecting the relationship is to not bring intention to the relationship. And since what I do is about bringing intention to things and leveling up your intention to things, I'm looking forward to that next stage of bringing couples together and applying this stuff with couples, because I think it's going to save some relationships, and more so than that, it's going to enhance relationships.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so.
Absolutely, because once you get this stuff in you, and when I say this stuff, I mean like the elevation, the elevated mindset, the elevated consciousness, and you start to see the results of it. You feel the results of it in your life, and you can see the fruits of it in your life and in the relationship. There's no turning back.
You know, Artemis, one of my mentors from afar, actually I could say she's not a mentor from afar because I've met her. But Artemis has a great saying. She says, when you get a little bit of this stuff in you, you realize that you never want to go back to your old way of thinking. So if you can't go back, then you must move forward.
You must move forward.
And if you must move forward, then failure is not an option. And
Absolutely.
if failure is not an option, then success is guaranteed.
Come on now. Come on now. Come on now. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. And really understanding those words. So you can't go back. So imagine if you're standing right here and a wall comes behind you. Like, there's no way to go back. So you're only going to move forward. If you're going to move, it's got to be forward.
Yeah.
And if you got to move forward, then failure is not an option. Why is failure not an option? Because if you continue to move, then failure is not a thing.
It's not a thing.
Success is guaranteed. What is success? Success is you said it today, it's the realization of progress towards a worthy idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the realization of progress towards a worthy idea. So if success is guaranteed, if you know if you're moving forward toward a worthy idea, then you are successful as you move forward. And if you can understand that and embrace the journey and see what's happening in your life in real time, then you don't have any reason to get distracted. That's why it says, so don't tell yourself anything other than that.
Anything other than that. If you're going to tell yourself something, might as well be speaking highly of yourself, right?
Absolutely.
Do you believe that the reason why so many people are unsuccessful is because they're defining success incorrectly?
So, first, you use a word that I don't deal with and I don't use.
Okay.
You ask me, do I believe?
Okay.
And I don't believe or disbelieve, because belief is in and of itself is illusion.
Talk to me.
So we got so many times people been told to build your belief. Build your belief. You got to build your belief. But if you look at the word believe, and you look at the word belief, just spell it out. In the middle of both of those words is the word lie.
Right.
You know, it's the word
There's a lie in the middle.
It's just a lie that you tell yourself over and over again until you start to believe that it's true. Like, literally, when you say you believe something, what you're saying is that I don't know, but I'm not real enough to say that I don't know. So I have to replace it with something called belief that give me the confidence to act like I know.
That's why I say belief and faith are different things.
Absolutely different. So when I say I believe, then I get to act like I know, but I really don't know. But I get the confidence the confidence to move, which is egoic. When I don't have the clarity and I don't have the knowledge, then I want to replace it with belief, because the ego never wants to be wrong, and so I have to tell this story in this lie that I do know when I don't know, and I know I don't know, so I use the word belief to indicate that. So,
I heard one time we show up with our beliefs when we're unprepared with facts.
whoa, yeah, and I would replace facts with truth.
Truth, absolutely.
Yes.
Truth. We're
Yeah.
unprepared with truth,
Well,
so we
very
show
true.
up with beliefs.
Show our beliefs.
Yeah.
And when somebody say these are my beliefs, what are they saying?
Right.
They, like, you can't touch
Yeah.
this. I'm defending my ignorance.
Because I'm able to believe whatever I want.
I think I would say that people are not striving, not even taking action, because they are defining success incorrectly. Yeah. So it's not like a bunch of people out here striving and failing. Like, no, they don't even get out the gate.
They don't get out the gate
Because
with it.
if I can't be certain that success is an outcome that I can achieve, then I don't even want to move. Because the pain of quote-unquote failure is oftentimes more scary than actually making the attempt. It's the whole thing of known hells versus unknown heavens, right? I'd rather stay in this hell that I know versus go towards the unknown heaven if I don't know I can get it.
Right.
And that's what happens so much. And
you miss out on a lot of things.
you miss out on so many things. You miss out on life.
Right.
Because, like I said today at the workshop, the level of success you experience in life is going to be directly proportionate with the amount of uncertainty you're willing to live with.
Absolutely. And as a serial entrepreneur, I know that to be absolutely true. There's no way to accomplish the things that I've been able to accomplish if I had to sit with certainty. And if I had to sit with a form of employment or income that was certain, fixed incomes, type shit, like there's no way to maximize the way that I have, scale the way that I have with certainty. It was always going out there, creating something, being uncertain of the what's going to happen, but having faith the whole way, working through and executing the whole way. But it's only in doing that I started to experience a limitless reality. When I stopped being okay with having what limits offered me.
Dennis Kimbrough says, if you want to find God, get yourself a big dream. Because you have to walk in that faith and that commitment that you're talking about. Because that's what faith is. Faith is not an intense belief. Faith is a commitment.
Right.
When
and that's good. That's good. A lot of people don't be thinking that. They feel like that's just like my belief system times 10.
Right.
Like I believe that a lot. I don't know where that shit came from.
Right. No. When you say my mate was faithful, they were committed.
They were committed. They didn't just believe you was there.
They didn't have a great belief in our relationship.
Yeah.
No, they were committed.
They were committed.
When you're unfaithful,
come on,
you lack.
That's real. That's real.
So you were committed. I love the phrase committed like you read about.
Yeah.
You got to be committed like you read about in order to touch it. And when you do that, you start to see how that is the alignment of the universe. The alignment of the universe is not a promise of certainty of outcome. It's a certainty of process that will deliver every single time. So if you just stay into that process, you can align yourself and feel what it is to be in your God state. So that's why I love entrepreneurship. That's why I love capitalism.
Right.
That's why because it makes you step out into the world and go with the only security that you can ever have, which is I'm going to be okay no matter what comes out of this.
Right.
That's the only security that there is.
Yeah. Because I'm greater than whatever I'm going to face.
Greater than whatever I'm going to face.
Whatever I'm going to face. We going to come right back to that. We going to be right back with more elevated consciousness on the Greater Existence podcast. with Al Tutson, the Time Collapse Guru.
You are now tuned into the Greater Existence Podcast with me, the Manifest Mentor, Brian Hyppolite.
If I could use one word to describe my experience, it would be growth. From the live speakers to the games to the exercises, it was just continual growth, information, and expansion. I feel like you can't leave like you came, like you had to have taken something from that. Another word I would use to describe is love. Like when I walked through the door, I walked through the people I never met in my life, most of them, and I was met with hugs. Hey sis, hey Meg, and it was all love, like a family reunion. So that's how I would describe my experience.
It's not just a university. We are a tribe and a family. Join Manifest University today to be in my daily calls, my weekly classes, and a part of our 24/7 community. You can go to brianhyppolite.com or doyoumu.com to join Manifest University today. This is my love letter. I pray when you read it. Every single word, you know that I mean it. You are a work of art. I stand in amazement. And I think what I'm saying is you're my favorite one that God's painted. Welcome to the frequency that's all about turning you into a greater version of you. Welcome to the podcast that's offering you greater. You are now tuned into the Greater Existence Podcast with me, the Manifest Mentor, Brian Hyppolite.
Welcome back to the Greater Existence Podcast. We got Al Tutson, the Time Collapse Guru. We're going to jump right back into it. Actually, we'll come back to that.
Okay.
I have a good question for you. We hear a lot about people moving in a state of compulsive action. A lot of what we talked about in the Greater Existence Workshop was the need to move to a conscious state of action. Yeah. What is something that someone could do to move quickly, collapse time, from a compulsive state of action to a conscious state of action?
Deal with the identity that's causing the compulsion. It's recognize that when you are moving or compelled to do something based on a feeling of need, that's not the feeling of wholeness. That's not the feeling. That's the feeling of an unfulfilled thing. Versus if you can disconnect from that, from whatever that identity is, what you make available to you as you're moving from a wholeness space, then what's pulling you is not to so-called bring something into your existence, but also it's to actually birth something and give something away. It's a different feeling. It's a different come from. So that becomes a inspiration, which is also known in spirit. It's an inspired action versus a needy and compulsive action.
Yeah. So I'll go back to what we was talking about before the break. We were speaking on faith equaling commitment. Yeah. We had an encounter where you taught me some valuable lessons in commitment. We was on the mountain. We had them skis on.
Oh yeah.
And in the process of learning how to ski, and with each stride that I was taking, at some point in time of my training, you were behind me yelling, "Commit, commit, commit." Every time with each step, commit. And I learned in that moment really what commitment, the depth of it, to a new level, because it meant for my goal to be successful, which my goal was to learn how to ski. My goal was to get down that mountain as fast as I could, not having to stop, that was the goal. And in order for me to reach that goal, I had to commit every step of the way. That commitment erased fear, doubt, the option of indecision, and produced a faith, which was a knowing that everything was going to be okay. And there was a time when we got to where there was a few days, not even time, there was a few days where every time we would get to a turn in the mountain, I would stop because I needed to see what was about to happen next, and determine. He told me, like, you know, if it gets rough, just observe the landscape. The mountain isn't always steep, really steep on both sides. There's gonna be one side of it that got a little bit slant to it. Go to that side and make your way down. As long as you can observe the landscape. You remember telling me all this?
Yes, I do.
As long as you can observe the landscape, you're going to be all right. Because once you look at the landscape, you're going to get a plan and you're going to execute it. So at every turn of the mountain, I'm observing the landscape, coming up with a plan, and going to execute it. And sometimes he would ski in front of me and go down the mountain and say, so he could take me coming down. And like, when I get down there, I'm gonna wave and you come. And sometimes he would get down there and wave and I wouldn't come. Because at that moment, I'm looking like we really about to get over that edge. And it looks like you just gonna go, you gonna go down, but not the way you want to. But a few days, you know, really probably about 20 to 24 hours into it. So 3-4 days of training and of commitment. I know that final day, we weren't stopping. And we weren't stopping because it didn't matter what that mountain was about to bring me. I didn't have to survey the landscape anymore to see if I can handle it or to make up a plan. I knew I had faith that was backed by the commitment, backed by commitment after commitment after commitment after. Matter of fact, I'm so good at this commitment, take me to the last place I was scared at. Let me be committed there. Take me to the one that I said I wasn't ready for. I've walked out my commitment. I'm ready for that now. And going through life requires that. That each step might be each day, might be each hour. It might be, it's definitely each season. That you have to renew that commitment with action and consciousness. Because at any point in time, I could have went into my story.
And commitment only comes from action.
It only comes from action.
It's only displayed by action.
Yeah.
You can't be committed with the words.
Right.
You can't be committed with your thoughts. Action shows commitment.
Yeah.
That's it. And what was it that you had to be committed to? You had to be committed to the principles.
The principles
that govern this particular situation.
Right.
So you talk about me, behind you saying commit. And it was commit to engaging and shifting your weight and letting the principle do the work.
Do the work, yeah.
And when you tried to do the work, skis got crossed up, you get off balance.
Right.
But when you let the actual skis do the work,
yeah,
and you go into just putting the pressure where it's supposed to be, applying pressure, making the commitment, and it doesn't happen right away, right?
Right.
You don't just press and then turn. You press and you hold it, and it builds into it, and then you turn. Then you have to shift it,
right,
and press, and then it grabs, and then it turns, and you have to. And it's only through constant action of staying committed to doing and making that shift that you had enough information and results that fortified a faith that's unbreakable right now.
Yeah.
And that's what has to happen in life.
Because as you're doing it, and it's a perfect example of what happens in life. Because as you're learning how to ski, so much of it feels uncomfortable. It feels foreign, and your mind is naturally trying to rely on what it's always known to do to give you balance. None of those things work in this scenario, though. So even relying on all that you know to work is only going to guarantee your failure in this situation. And that's why that commitment, he was behind me saying, commit, 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 to where I started saying it in my mind. Because I'm doing an action, but a part of me feels like this is unnatural and you're gonna fall. So do something to stop this fall. That's the moment you have to commit. It wasn't starting the turn. It was the moment when you feel like, what if this is not the right decision? That you have to commit to do it more and allow the principle to do the work for you.
And the counterintuitive thing he's describing is you're looking down to go down a hill, down a slope. You're in a safety perspective. Your body, your mind says the logical thing to do is lean back, not lean forward. I'm not going to lean forward down the hill because that's going to make me tumble down the hill. But that's exactly what you have to do. Leaning back is what makes you fall. It's leaning forward. That's what's going to keep you stable and that's going to allow the skis to work the way they're designed to work. And I also noticed that in tennis. It's also counterintuitive. So when if you ever watch tennis and people swinging the racket super fast and they hit the ball and it's going in, and then when a new person get out there, the first thing they want to do is swing hard.
Right.
But when they swing hard,
The
it
ball
sends
go
it all the
yeah.
way, out
Right.
the fence, right?
Yeah.
So the first thing you do is to start to slow your arm down, so that you think that's the way to control the ball.
Right.
But that's not the way to control the ball. The way to control the ball is to use the racket head speed to apply a certain type of force on it, which is to spin the ball, and that actually controls and keeps the ball on the court. So it's actually accelerating, not slowing down. But intuitiveness say, okay, if I'm hitting the ball hard, I need to slow things down and I need to pull back to bring it under control.
Right.
When it's the opposite. And so the most powerful things in life are counterintuitive. In other words, only thing we're saying when we say counterintuitive is that it does not fall under the regulation of your five senses.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is what we're trying to move you away from anyway, because we're trying to remove you from that limitation that you're used to experiencing, living life through those five senses.
And they're the very definition of your limitation.
Yeah.
So how can we learn to see without using our eyes? How can we learn to hear without using our ears? Have you ever heard something and there was no sound whatsoever? Have you ever heard the voice of whomever? The voice of God, the voice of your loved ones, and they were nowhere around? You wasn't hearing that with your ears. You ever had your eyes completely closed and you can see things right now? You can see images.
Past and
I
future.
can see his face right now. Past and future. You see things and live it. How can you see without your eyes? How can you taste without your tongue? If I told you, what does a lemon taste like? Your face is scrunch up. You don't even have a lemon in your mouth right now, right? Because you can taste without your tongue, right? So these are the power, what I call the power of the invisible. It's in like these lights in here. We don't know how the electricity gets here. The most powerful thing that powers these lights is electricity. We can't see it. The most powerful things are invisible to the five senses. They don't register to the five senses. So to be able to move in that space
Yeah.
is what frees you at a level
Yeah.
that gives you a greater existence.
Absolutely. When you start to focus on that part of your existence that you don't see, like your aura,
Oh yes.
like that, like when you start focus on your existence as an energy field, and you stop paying attention to this shit and everything, you start working on what makes that energy field be greater, and operate on a higher, scale of spectrum. They say that our aura or our energy field at its height can be about 12 feet around us. That's how people feel you walking in a room. That's how your spirit and your presence is felt before you seen. And I wish there was some way, and this actually sounds like a good idea for a good movie or a video game or something like that, but some way where we could see each other's aura and level.
Yes.
And we can see, oh, yours is low, and you're thinking low thoughts. You're moving from a low vibration. You're feeding yourself low things. Yours is high. Yours is great. Yours is whatever it is. So that even if it wasn't something that everyone else seen, it was just something that you could see.
Yeah.
So that you can at least see, man, my aura is only right around me right now. That shit's supposed to be out the room.
And here's a fun fact to consider. People always talking about the mind, but the force field that comes, the energy that comes from the mind, is like 3 times less powerful than the energy that comes from your heart.
That comes from the heart, yeah. 'Cause that's where that force field comes from.
And it's not to shit on the mind. It's just understanding that it was never designed to be the leading role.
Right.
And when you have a leading mind, what you have is a thing that's looking for protection, looking for safety.
Yeah.
Which also means it's looking for problems, even when problems are not there.
Right.
So because that's the job that it does when you lead with the intellect. But when you put it in the subservient role, which is turn it into the creative factory, that is creating the blueprint of what you give it to create. It doesn't get the lead, it gets to serve a blueprint that you put up and you give it and make it subservient to that.
Yeah.
That's how you use it, and it's the most effective way. And that's how you're able to create intentionally what it is that you want in life versus these other things that you create.
Yeah. That's an elevated consciousness. Let's clap it up for that. Yeah. That makes so much sense. Like when you have, I always use the analogy of having your mind in the driver's seat. I always tell people take your mind out of the driver's seat, because it can only take you where it knows.
Come on.
It can only take you where what's in that GPS. The routes that the GPS your GPS ever try to take you somewhere and there was actually a much faster route?
All the time.
Yeah, that we do. We do that all the time when we're having our mind in the driver's seat, and it's pulling from past experiences, and it's taking all these things that are not alive in this moment and will not be alive in the future as your guiding light or your guiding darkness, however you want to look at it, and don't have it in its proper space. Like your mind, like you was just saying, your mind is useful to create for a purpose, not create the purpose. Like that's not what it's supposed to do. I'm giving me some air horns for that. Yeah, I'm giving some air horns for that. Yeah, that's the way to change it. That's the change that needs to be stated. Yeah. And that's why you say a committed man. For a committed man, there's no such thing as failure. To go back to what you were saying earlier, because when you stay committed to it, you're just going to continue to progress.
The only failure that you can possibly come across is death.
I like that.
That's it.
I got a quote I want to get your opinion on. The fundamental difference between life and death is consciousness.
Wow.
You agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. Even physical death, right?
Right.
Even physical death, because if you look at physical death, when the body, say I die right now, and my body is laying here, the coroner is going to come and get my what?
Remains.
My remains. So remains means something left behind. What left it behind?
That's all. The
You know,
consciousness.
we say consciousness, we call it whatever it is, but something left the damn thing behind, right? Something kept going. Something went somewhere.
Right.
And left this behind. And we know it, scientifically we know it. This is why these terms are very impeccable. So, yeah, the awareness of that is what creates life and death. And understanding in some, religious practices or spiritual practices, that's why they say death is an illusion.
Yeah.
The body dies, but you never die. The soul never dies. And so if the soul never dies, then they also say the soul was never born.
Right.
Right? So there was no, and then you look at the fact when you talk, again, looking at sciences, energy can never be destroyed, right? It can only transform. So if there's an energy here right now, what did it transform into? It didn't die, it transformed into something.
Right.
So yeah, I can really see the alignment there in that statement for sure.
I like that. What do you think is the problem that keeps people away from this higher consciousness? Like, because everyone says that they want it. We see that all the time. People say that they want it. Some people claim they have it. Lives don't reflect it. Like, what is it? What do you see as that dividing factor for those who are going to experience a greater existence and those who is just going to buy the book with greater existence?
The difference, the big difference is this. What's most important to them? Is it their creation or creation's creation? So we think we're living life, but we just live our thoughts and emotions. And to the point where people argue about their feelings, right? They argue about the idea that you're supposed to have feelings. They argue about...
And that they valid.
That their feelings are valid.
Yeah.
And you need to validate them.
Yeah.
And you need to honor them. You need to listen to them.
And your existence should reflect the honor of their feelings.
Of their feelings.
Yeah.
So what blocks that greater existence or access to living that way is when you hold on to what your feelings are. And let's make sure we're speaking the same language. All right? So emotions. Emotions it's energy in motion. That's what it is. Everything's energy. Brian has energy, I have energy, this table has energy, that candle has energy. And so we're always reacting to energy when we see it. So when we see a picture, that picture of the Godfather right here, that picture has energy. So we're reacting to the energy of that picture. And so when energy is put in motion, it's called emotion, energy in motion. But the thing about emotion, is that it's very fleeting.
That's true.
It's very fleeting. So as I'm looking at this and I'm gazing at this picture, I'm like, man, it hits me with a certain energy. But as I leave and I'm no longer looking at that picture, it's only so much of that energy that emotion can stay with me, because the source has been removed. Right. So emotion rather, is very fleeting unless you bring your feelings into it. And so what is feelings?
That's when you pick out one of those emotions and say, I want to keep this one. I want to keep this one with
when you put a meaning on the emotion. So when you decide to create a meaning on the emotion, then that becomes your feelings. And so feelings last longer. So what does that look like? if I yell at you, you feel a certain energy.
Right.
It's penetrating, it hits you, and what happens is you move. That energy moves through you. As long as you don't put a meaning on it. But if you then put a meaning on it and say, Al is mean, now that energy stays with you longer. And so now every time you see me, that energy comes back up because you created this meaning that you decided that this thing is what it is.
Right.
Whether it's true or not. Now, moods is when you hold that meaning for an extended period of time, and now that turns into a mood. Those feelings turn into a mood. So, as we enter into this conversation, I want to make sure that you know the language that I'm using here.
Right.
And so much of what we do in life are living our meanings. See, I don't want people to start saying their feelings anymore. I want you to really understand what you're saying when you say your feelings.
This is the meaning that I created.
This is the meaning
beyond
I
this
say,
thing.
I'm in my feelings. No, you're not in your feelings. You're in your meanings.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're literally in your meanings.
Yeah.
So that gives you a workable understanding and awareness of how to deal with that.
Yeah.
And so people, like, one of the things people do is they take a fact, right? And because it's a fact, then they think they're empowered to create a meaning behind that fact and call it a truth. But no, a fact is just a factual thing that happened that's in and of itself, by itself, leave it as itself, is nothing. It's not good or bad, it's not right or wrong. It's just is. Until you decide to put your meaning on it, which usually comes in the form of a judgment of some type. That this is right, this is wrong, this is good, this is bad. And because of that, that's how we tend to operate. Now, what happens there? We don't know how to move principally. Commit. We don't know how to move principally. Well, one thing we know how to move is emotionally. So to move emotionally, you have to have a meaning. You have to fire the emotion. You have to bring it in so that it stays with you so you can get going. So in order for me to be if I see something that I don't want to see repeated, in order for me to be against something, I have to label that thing as wrong, or I have to label that thing as bad.
Right.
I can't just say this is just something that I don't want to see repeated in my life. No, I gotta be against it because I don't know how to move principally. If I want to be for something, I have to label it as good, or I have to label it as right, or I can't support it because I don't know how to move principally. I just don't even know how to move emotionally. So it's this existence that creates the separation between the Creator's creation and your creation. And when that's more important than you, than life itself, then your access to the greater existence is hindered
Tremendously.
Yeah.
So in short, fuck your feelings. Fuck your feelings. Fuck the meanings you associate with them.
Well, we play with fuck your feelings, right? And I love it. Here's what I say. Understand that truth and your feelings have nothing to do with each other.
They're not synonymous.
They're not synonymous whatsoever. So if life treats your feelings that way, and you want a greater existence, then you need to align yourself with the way life operates.
Yeah.
So that you can move in the power of this world. And if you can move in alignment with the power of this world, that's what allows the greater existence to happen for you. So, and it's available to you now.
Right now.
Right now.
All you gotta do is start making decisions that reflect what you want to be in your life,
Principally.
versus what you've experienced, what you thought, what you were told, or how you feel.
You are now tuned into the Greater Existence Podcast with me, the Manifest Mentor, Brian Hyppolite.
What would you say has changed about your household since your wife joined Manifest University?
It's a lot more good energy, a lot more light, different conversations, less arguments, more communication, more openness.
I love that. Thank you.
It's not just a university. We are a tribe and a family. Join Manifest University today to be in my daily calls, my weekly classes, and a part of our 24/7 community. You can go to brianhyppolite.com or doyoumu.com to join Manifest University today.
Unless you create the necessary conditions, the things that you want will not happen. Nothing changes until you do. Now, that shouldn't be a problem. Embracing change for your betterment should always be embraced, but I understand that we are creatures of habit. We are prone to self-sabotage and many other things that pull us away from running towards our elevation, running towards creating that reality that we desire. We seem to want it to manifest in some other way other than us creating the conditions to allow it to be. So whatever it is that you want in your life, whatever it is that you want to see present in your life, begin to create the conditions that would allow it to be. Persuasion is a process. Power happens over time, just not in one moment. So if you have the power to make something happen and know that that's what you desire, then by all means, apply your plan. Turn your goal and your dream into a plan and walk it out. Let your intentions come to pass.
This is my love letter. I pray when you read it. Every single word, you know that I mean it. You are a work of art. I stand in amazement. And I think what I'm saying is you're my favorite one of God's paintings. Welcome to the frequency that's all about turning you into a greater version of you. Welcome to the podcast that's offering you greater. You are now tuned into the Greater Existence Podcast with me, the Manifest Mentor, Brian Hyppolite.
What is the greatest investment you've ever made?
Ooh, that's easy. In me.
Mm-hmm.
100, hands down, 10 toes down.
Absolutely.
100%. I have spent 100. I'm like this is just not a question.
Yeah.
You know, like I take my money and put it in me. Like somebody say sometimes I have something out there money working in investments and stuff, but the majority of my flow right here.
Yeah.
Like I take my
High ROI.
high return on investment.
Yeah.
And you know, I remember it was about 3 or 4 years ago, and was talking about wealth and what wealth is and what I didn't have as a traditional definition of wealth.
Okay.
And someone said that you are wealthy beyond our measure because of how I show up in the world. And I started to realize that, like I was blinded to that, but I had invested so much in myself. I've easy 6 figures.
Yeah.
Easy 6 figures over the last, say,
into your development,
into my
your
development,
education, your things that sharpen your tools.
And like I've spent my last.
Yeah.
I've spent my last. Like when I'm looking at, I got $12 in the bank account, and I'm like, oh shit, the book costs $11.95. The book.
Yeah.
Get a book. Like it's.
I was telling somebody that the other day. The last time that I was down to my last, I invested in a writing program that gave me writing gigs and sharpened my skills as a writer. Yeah. And that was the last time that I was down in my last. And look at these books.
Come on now.
Look at these books. Like, look at what's going on right now. I'm talking about commit. Wealth we tend to think in our culture that wealth is having things and certain just having certain things or a certain dollar amount.
Certain dollar.
If that's the case, I've been wealthy a few times.
Right.
So we know now that wealth is either the accumulation or the creation of sustainable assets. If you didn't know that, that's what wealth is.
That's what I wanted to ask you. You said how old, what year you would die? How old would you be?
115.
What do you say?
I've never done that. I didn't like gave myself an age, but I like 94. I like something like that. I like that.
Be around there.
Yeah. I tell my godson.
Yeah.
I say, dude, I hope you make it.
Cause I'm gonna make
Yeah,
it.
I'm gonna make it.
Cause I'm gonna make it. I hope you.
I am 23 years older than him, and I'm like, dude, I'm on a 115, so you only have to make it to 92.
Yeah.
I'm
To be.
saying.
Yeah.
So, hey.
Right.
I grew up with a what they call a martyr complex. Like I was telling y'all earlier, when we was in the workshop. Like I had this mindset that I would die early, and one that I would just gonna die for no reason. Like it was going either the circumstances around it would be some great reason or something that I stood on, and that's why that happened, or the aftermath of it was going to be something big because of the situation that it caused. But I always thought it'd be like that. So I didn't really grow up with this idea, envisioning that I'd be old. It is crazy that we'll grow up and position ourselves to not even think that we're going to maximize our potential, that way. But I don't want to even call it a sickness, but definitely a mindset that I picked up and that was fitting for me, because it made me fearless in the way that I lived, because I was never relying on time. And I've lived so many days believing and as if it could really be that last one, and we going out with a bang. And we going out because of what we stand on and what we believe on, and because of that, it's going to cause a change, a ripple effect. However happen, however go down. I don't even remember what got us on the subject now, but I went through life empowering myself like there is no tomorrow, and found a whole lot of power in that. Not believing in tomorrow, believing in now and what I can do now.
Yeah. The Rev, we heard the phrase, go for what you know.
Mm-hmm.
And the way you know what you know is what you willing to put your life on.
Yeah.
What are you willing to stake your life on? I was in a situation, I was in the coaching, and somebody in the coaching, in the group said, I know what you're about to say. I said, do you know? And she was like, yeah, I know what you're going to say. I said, you know? It's like, yeah. I said, okay, what are you willing to bet? Since you know, what are you willing to bet? If you know what I was going to say, what are you willing to bet? All right, tuition, $2,000 get in this program. I put $2,000 online. Do you know what it is that I was going to say? And all of a sudden, we didn't know. We didn't want to put that on the line. So a lot of people profess what they know, but it's just a belief. Because when you ask them to put it on the line,
Yeah.
they're not willing to put
They
it on the
not
line.
willing. Yeah.
That's why, and you spoke about it earlier today. It's like when you forget the truth in your hour of need, it proves that you never knew the truth in the first place.
Yeah.
Like, do you say you standing on it?
Yeah.
But stand on it when it matters.
Yeah.
Because you are a fool if you're saying that this is the truth that you know, that you're going to abandon it when you need it the most.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's crazy.
Then it's not something you know. It's you don't know truth. It was just a suspicion you had.
It was suspicion.
You was
It
suspicious.
was a belief.
Yeah.
It was a belief.
Yeah.
You wanted the confidence, and knowing comes with the experience.
Yeah.
The only way you can know something is through actually doing the thing. And so when the moment comes for you to do the thing and you back down from actually going through with it, then you can never profess to know anything. And it's just amazing to me how many people live their life under this idea of believing and wanting that to be enough.
Yeah.
Wanting that to be enough. And that's just not something that I'm ever going to do.
Never with that.
Like, never going to do. But through that commitment, I get to see the result of that greater existence, because it's through movement, not emotion, not my commitment to my emotion, not my commitment to what I think it is, not my commitment to what I want it to be, but actually what it is, and actually moving in alignment of the rules that govern what it is.
Right.
That's what gives me access to empower, like it seems magical at times to some people. Which is funny, right? Because people would say to me things like, "Oh man, you do it this way, and man, it's, you're great because you worked on yourself this amount of time, and you're able to master this and that and all these kind of things." And I always say to them, it's not special.
Yeah.
In fact, if you knew what I knew, if you knew exactly what it was that I know,
Yeah.
you would say, it would be ridiculous to you if I didn't move in alignment with it.
Right.
You would think I'm the biggest fool in the world. You would look at me like I'm special. You will understand. You would start to see that there's no other choice or preference that I would make.
Yeah.
Other than this. And that's an important thing to pick out, because a lot of the times we've been told to practice and create habits, right? To habits to the point where you no longer have to think about it. It just becomes habitual for you.
Right.
And I say never that. Never remove consciousness out of it. Never remove consciousness. So I don't practice to make it a habit. I do it on repeat so that I can get the result and get it again and again, to the point that I never want to choose something different.
Right.
I don't remove choice.
I just
get
don't
the
want to
point,
choose nothing.
I don't want to choose anything else. I know the choice is there, but this has shown up for me so much that I never want to choose anything else, and that's the greater existence.
Yeah.
Not this habitual thing that people build your habits, don't get unconsciously competent.
Right.
That whole conscious competent loop kind of thing. No, it's about always bringing consciousness.
Always bringing consciousness to it, and always moving in alignment.
Always moving.
Always moving in alignment. I was just having a conversation with someone, and this was speaking on health, and we was talking about how like we all want to eat smart, eat better, have better, so we could be healthy. It seems like it's so difficult to be plant based for a lot of people. And the conversation I was just having, saying like there's thousands of edible plant items, thousands of pieces of edible plant life. However, we most commonly know like 30 of them. We already know we don't like 10 of those. So when you're trying to tell somebody that they're going to spend the rest of their days on 20 different, like that seems like a limitation.
That does seem like a limitation.
I was explaining that there's this one fruit called jackfruit. Jackfruit has it's one of the things that they call a superfruit. So you can eat like 8 of these little bulbs that's in the jackfruit that's filled with like 100 of them. You eat like 6 to 8 of these bulbs, and your body has all of the nutritional value that it needs for 8 hours. Just eating these, and when you do it, it's like it's a good high. It's a great, like, you feel it coming in your body the same way that you might feel alcohol hitting your system. And what I was saying is that when I eat some of those and I feel what it does for me, I'm conscious of the elevation that's taking place, and then I'm further inspired to keep that up and keep that going. So though there's the same choices that I might have been okay with at another time, now that I've become consciousness of this height, of this elevation, I don't want to come down. I want to make the choices that's going to keep my body going and keep me feeling great and things like that. And that turns into the lifestyle that leads to that greater existence, you know. But and it's the same thing outside of food, with our mindset and with the way that we're moving about in this dimension.
Absolutely. That was a perfect example. I just saw jackfruit. By the way, we're in Florida, so I just saw jackfruit in the grocery store. I was like, damn. Okay, that's that thing they've been talking about.
Yeah.
So I guess I need to try it out, see what's going on. It's huge.
It's huge, yeah. I mean, and the place I go, I get it about $1 per pound, and they're normally about $30.
Oh wow.
They're bigger than a newborn baby.
Yeah.
And so, but they good, and they can be used for so many different things, meat replacements and different stuff like that they do with it. But that's just a different consciousness.
Everybody always trying to replace meat. Just eat plants.
Just eat plants.
Don't
You're not
replace meat. Just eat plants.
Just eat some plants. Have a balance, right?
Yeah.
We had you. You were on episode 6 of the Greater Resistance podcast, and on that episode, you spoke on why you don't choose therapy or advocate for therapy, and that made some people uncomfortable. And I would like to make more people uncomfortable.
I'm with it.
So okay.
I'm with it. I'm with it. I'm really with this.
Because I've tried to stay on the opposing side of this argument.
You have, yeah.
And it's led to some pretty great conversations. So I'm gonna stay here for a moment. But I will say that you have been elevating the consciousness to where it's like, I see it. I see why that's not the way to go. It may be something that's useful to someone, yeah. But as you said, that's not a person that's ready for change.
Yeah, man, I'm glad you asked about this, because this is a new frontier for me, and so I'm just gonna go raw today.
Okay.
I'm about to go raw, so hey. Let's get into it. I think the biggest thing that, as I started to express and look at this subject matter that has been.
Y'all ready for Al to go raw?
Yeah.
All right.
As I start to look at this subject matter, the thing that's been most surprising to me is how scary the notion is. That people are defending therapy because of the idea that saying that it's not the place to go seems dangerous. And I remember having this conversation with someone that when I met them, they had been in therapy for 2 years. When I met them. And after 2 months with me, they stopped going to therapy. And so I was having this conversation with that particular person, and they were like, but you just need therapy. Like, sometimes you don't know what to do. That's just where you go, because you don't know anything better than that. So you shouldn't talk about that. You shouldn't talk bad about that, because that's what most people, that's the only place they know to go. And I said, well, did you go to therapy because you wanted to? Or you went to therapy because that's the predominant message that people give you, that when you want to change your life, that's the place you go.
Yeah.
And that's the situation that happened to you, and you sat there for 2 years. And when did change happen? It didn't happen in those 2 years. It made you more comfortable talking about your patterns of behavior, and you extendedly talked about your patterns of behavior for 2 years.
Yeah.
And then you ran into a different consciousness, which was me.
Right.
And you were done with therapy in 2 months. And you started to see change in your life that you've been trying to get in 2 years.
They used to say, if you scared, go to church. Now it's if you scared, go to therapy.
Go to therapy.
Yeah, okay.
And look, therapy has a place. And that place is
next to the
for
church.
people that don't next to church. For people that don't want to change. I mean, they're not ready for change. They're trying to get ready to get ready. And that's okay. That they're wanting to get ready to get ready. But you're not ready for change. Because therapy, your therapist believes more in the diagnosis than they do in you. They believe that the power of the diagnosis more than the power of you. And so they're going to spend time telling you what you have so that you can deal with that thing, because that thing is crippling you, because it's bigger and more powerful than you.
Right.
And there's even a belief that if we don't deal with these things, that somewhere down the road it's going to come back and hit you across the head, and it's going to cripple you, and it's going to be an unconscious thing that's undermining you the entire time.
Therapy sounding a lot like AA. You know, like the way that you're describing it, and the way that you're saying what it's offering, it's sounding like AA. It sounds like something that you do to psych yourself up about something that you're not fully committed to, maybe that you want to be fully committed to. And I don't mean that even absolutely not at all, and with any disrespect to therapy, but the method that we put our mind in to say, I need to do this to get that.
Right.
We've attached, it's more than just therapy. We've attached there's so many things that we do because we convinced ourselves that I need to do this to get that, and this thing will help me get there. When you need to go within, or you need to deal with what you want right now and what you want in the future, rather than searching for it in these outside entities or searching for a direction. You need to start asking yourself some real questions. You come to therapy and you talk so much, but you don't ask the right questions. You're just explaining.
That is so true. And here's the thing. The law, I heard Wayne Dyer say this. This is the law of flotation was not created by the contemplation of the sinking of things. The law of flight, the law of aviation was not created by the contemplation of the staying on the ground of things. So your freedom in this moment right here will not come from the contemplation of what has happened in your past. Until you're ready to say that I have ownership and become aware that I have the ability, whatever it is that I want to create, to start moving in that direction right now, to place intention to create that thing right now, then nothing changes for you. In fact, therapy's whole goal is to get you back to this place right here where you can actually start to change, which that you have agency over this moment to make decisions right now. That's the goal of therapy, is to bring you back to this moment.
This moment.
That's what it is.
So why not start at this moment? Why not start right here at this place? That's what you're saying.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
But more important than that, because let therapy be what it is. My real message is stop promoting that as the first step. We're going to send a generation of people into a system, into a methodology that is specialized in the dead, meaning the past. So what are the results of...
And this is actually where you left off in podcast episode 6. It ended with you saying, where are the results? And this was a pretty compelling argument, I must say. Where are the results? We said that anxiety is at all-time high, suicides are at all-time high, overeating's at all-time high. All these things are going on. So where are it made me think, where are these results before we go preaching it to a whole nother generation as if this is the answer?
And what we're seeing, the results we're seeing is a principal outcome. It's a necessary outcome. And that necessary outcome is dealt in the law of attraction. What you focus on expands. The whole psychological community focuses on whatever label the thing is. I mean, I'm watching, I'm looking at different psychologists that I know, and they're posting different things. They're posting about anxiety. They're posting about depression. They're posting about, one of the main ones is they're posting about narcissism.
That's the new buzzword.
God, that's just like,
everybody got a narcissist ex or narcissistic baby daddy or baby mom. Like everyone who ever crossed your path and ain't do what you want is a narcissist.
Is a narcissist.
Yeah.
So I went and I started looking at the qualities of a narcissist, right? And I find it real interesting that one, the diagnosis is very new in the DSM. It was in the DSM. It was first in there in 1980.
Okay.
So we're talking very new term,
right,
in relative to history. But then, out of all people that are, it says 5% of the population are narcissists, and out of those 5%, 75% of them are men.
And of those 5%, you know all them motherfuckers. Like that's how people feel. Like you know all them.
So, and then if you see all these posts and all these advertisements and all these...
How to deal with a narcissist.
How to deal with a narcissist. What the qualities of narcissist is. But if you really look at it and you go read it, the only thing that you have to do with a person that is... If I'm going to just take a moment and say that there's a person like that actually exists. Not going to have that debate today.
Yeah.
We're just going to say that there's a person like that exists. If you look at the qualities in the things that are attributed to that person has no effect on a whole person.
At all.
You are now tuned into the Greater Resistance Podcast with me, the Manifest Mentor, Brian Hyppolite.
If I could use one word to describe my experience, it would be growth. From the live speakers to the games to the exercises, it was just continual growth, information, and expansion. I feel like you can't leave like you came. Like you had to have taken something from that. Another word I would use to describe is love. Like when I walked through the door, I walked through the people I never met in my life, most of them, and I was met with hugs. Hey sis, hey Meg, and it was all love, like a family reunion. So that's how I would describe my experience.
It's not just a university. We are a tribe and a family. Join Manifest University today to be in my daily calls, my weekly classes, and a part of our 24/7 community. You can go to brianhyppolite.com or doyoumu.com to join Manifest University today. This is my love letter. I pray when you read it. Every single word, you know that I mean it. You are a work of art. I stand in amazement. And I think what I'm saying is you're my favorite one of God's paintings. Welcome to the frequency that's all about turning you into a greater version of you. Welcome to the podcast that's offering you greater. You are now tuned into the Greater Existence Podcast with me, the Manifest Mentor, Brian Hyppolite.
Oh, let's get some air horns for wholeness. And for the fact that when you're moving in wholeness, you aren't going to be affected by anybody. I don't care what label they got, what mood they in, what vibration they on. If you're not looking for something else to help you add up, you're not going to be affected by that. So go on with your, because I feel like what you're saying is that it really don't matter if somebody's a narcissist or not, or whatever label you want to give them. What's important is that you move from wholeness.
It's important that you are whole. So what does the psychological community do? Instead of promoting wholeness, they promote anti-narcissism.
Right.
So as a result, we see the identification of narcissism going up through the roof. And that's the literal result. That's the necessary.
Just like toxic. The word toxic.
Oh, let me get to toxic. So, but we see the necessary result of focusing on something, which means whatever you focus on, expand. You cannot bring something into existence by focusing on the opposite of that thing. That's universal law. So we have a whole entire methodology that we're calling mental health. And if we understand how the healthcare industry is really a sick care industry, and now we're talking about mental health, which we're really talking about mental sickness.
Yeah.
And that's how we're expanding our approach in this subject matter, and we're calling that help for society. Get the fuck out.
We gonna drop some explosions for that one. We gonna drop some air horns. That's not helping, huh?
And then, okay, let's talk about toxic. So all these terms are given to us by this community.
Yeah.
And the reason why it's given to us because there's a belief that you have to identify these things because these things have so much power over you. And if you go ignorant to these concepts, then you're going to fall victim to these concepts. And man, that's just so flawed in so many ways. But let's just talk about toxic. And again,
most people don't know what it means.
Well, let's look at this other parallel. What's the one we hear the most that's toxic?
Masculinity. Yeah.
Right? Remember, narcissists, the characteristics. And I can't give you the characteristics because this is the first time I just recently studied it, so I don't have a mastery in it right now. But the first thing is like a over importance of confidence or belief in yourself or exaggerated belief in yourself and that kind of thing, which can easily be a very male trait, right?
All right.
A very masculine trait can be deemed that way. But let's go back. Toxic masculinity. So what's toxic? We put masculinity and we put the label toxic on it. You don't really hear, I know you hear some people talking about toxic femininity, but it's not on anywhere of the scale of toxic masculinity.
Yeah, and they use it like it's a joke. Like they'd be like, when it like a woman eating off your plate while her plate's full. That's toxic femininity.
Right. So now let's look at the truth of it.
That's abuse.
Masculinity in no form whatsoever is toxic.
Right.
I'm going to say that again. Masculinity in no form whatsoever is toxic. Anything that you do unconsciously will be perverted. So what is being described as unconsciousness, as toxic masculinity, is unconscious masculinity. Anything that you do unconscious will be perverted. I don't care what it is, because you're operating something and you're dealing with a power that you are not qualified to handle. So you will mismanage and mishandle that thing. But to then turn the car and if you got a driver, you put a person behind the driver's seat of a race car, and all they have is a driver's license, and then you're going to call the race car toxic?
Yeah.
That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing. No, the race car is not toxic. The race car is the race car. We just put an unconscious person behind the wheel and now it became dangerous. That's anything. That's anything.
And they're so committed. And when I say they, I mean the entities that produce these titles and give us these things. They're so committed to it. I just Googled, narcissistic traits. It came up with narcissistic personality disorder, also known as NPD.
Yes.
And I don't know if you knew this or not, but NPD treatment can help, but this condition cannot be cured.
Yes.
This condition cannot. That's what it says.
Yes.
This condition cannot. Chronic is the word that they use to describe it. Can last for years or lifelong.
Yes. In fact, I'm new on this research, but it says that they removed the disorder from the DSM and they put it under a blanket term because there's no cure. There's no way to treat it. So now
just like it's no way to kill a boogeyman, right?
Exactly.
Okay, that's what I thought.
And that's I love that analogy because this is what we do in life. We draw the boogeyman, and we create the poster, and we put it on the wall of the boogeyman, and then we turn around and get afraid of the thing we created.
Yeah.
And that's what they're giving us. They create this stuff, and then instead of working on the empowerment that you don't succumb to anything, they start to expand this consciousness that you got to be aware of a narcissist. Make sure he's not a narcissist. Make sure he's not. So now you out here in the world thinking that you have to be afraid of something outside of you.
And protecting yourself from
and
something
you
else.
call that mental health. Get the fuck out of here.
It's all rooted in fear.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. We can do better for society than what that shit they're giving us.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Where's the
and only people that have a problem with what I'm saying are people that are addicted to powerlessness.
That's right.
That's the only people that have the only reason you have a problem with what I'm saying is you don't think you have the power to control your fucking life.
So let's talk about these powerless motherfuckers real quick, man.
It.
Why is it that these powerless energies seem to be the ones with extra batteries in their mouths? Like, their life ain't got no power, but their mouths do. We grew up like in the street, like you learned real quick who was really moving in power and who was just moving with their mouth. Yes. And you learn to not move with your mouth because there's real power out here that's gonna come test you about that.
Yes.
So now we see in this realm about that life.
Right.
So now what we see is a lot of people who aren't about that life, trying to live life, going through life, not about that life, but wanting you to know about their trials and their tribulations, wanting you to be in it with them.
Yeah.
Is there a name for that, or should we not give it a label? What do we do with those people? How we deal with that?
Well, the first thing is they're not powerless. They're addicted to powerlessness.
Okay.
So that's the first thing. The attractiveness to that is that the victim is always right.
Mm-hmm.
Victimhood, you're always right. So whenever you profess to be a victim, what's the first thing that you're being told that people in society is telling folks to do? Up level and apply empathy.
Yeah.
And compassion.
Yeah.
to the victim.
Yeah.
So
Remove accountability.
remove accountability. We got to go empathetic, and we got to be compassionate.
Yeah.
That's the first step. And so if I profess to be a victim, the louder I profess to be a victim, the more empathy, the more compassion, also known as attention, that I get.
Right.
And I get to sit in this space unchecked because the victim is always right.
Yeah.
Always right. So it becomes a drug that turns into an addiction of powerlessness.
Victims are often offered protection. And it seems like most people are looking for protection versus being a force to reckon with, versus being able to protect themselves, versus being able to create that environment that gives them that protection on their own.
Well, as Armin says, there's someone on her team, her business team, said that it's a great responsibility to be on this team. And she said, no, it's a great responsibility to be a human being on this planet.
Yeah.
So to be given such an immense amount of power and access called freedom to create whatever it is that you want is a level of responsibility that it has become comfortable and preferred for so many to shrink from.
That's why so many people suffer from freedom.
Yes.
But if we take away their freedom, they don't like it.
They don't like that.
They're going to call it prison. They're going to call it slavery.
Right.
They're going to call it all these things. But yet people go through life taking away their freedom from them every day. Ignoring the options to be better, ignoring the things that will allow them to get off the plantation.
Well, I'm going to actually say they use their freedom to abuse themselves. They're not getting...
Because they have the freedom to do that.
They have the freedom to do that. So their choice is how they're using their freedom to create the suffering in the life that they're experiencing. And to go... I would tell you, when I first read the book, The Four Agreements, and I tell you, I was like a newborn Christian. Because when I read the chapter, the one agreement that says you don't have to don't take anything personally. And I was like, whoa, and I read the book and it said, what a person says or does has everything to do with them and little to nothing to do with you. I was like, what? Like, really? Like, wait, I have a choice that everything a person says to me, I get to go, oh, you showing me who you are? It's not about me.
It's not about me.
Man, that's freedom.
Yeah.
So I went around telling everybody, you don't have to ever get offended. You don't ever have to be offended. You don't ever have to take anything personal. And people looking at me like, no one lives like that. What the fuck you mean?
Well, yeah, but we can.
We can.
Yeah.
Like, it's right. Like, look, it's a choice.
Yeah.
Look, can you argue with it? Can you give me an example when
I bet
it's
you
not a
offended
choice?
some people telling them that
Offended
they
a lot
didn't
of
have to
people.
get offended. I bet you did. Is that where you figured out that you had a knack for it?
That was a little disappointing, actually. That was a little discouraging. Because, when you think, okay, naivety, I thought, man, this is freedom. And I went spreading it like the good word.
Yeah.
And I got resistance. I didn't get, at the time, one person that just said, wow, yes, we can be free. We don't have to do that. It was all either, okay, I hear you, or no one lives like that.
Bruh, people don't want freedom. They want peaceful slavery.
They want,
They want, if they could have a high rise on the plantation, they do it.
Yeah.
Just to be like, look, I'm sitting up higher than the other slaves.
Yeah.
Versus a flat in freedom land.
Yeah.
They'll take a high rise in the plantation all day.
Absolutely.
So that's crazy to me. So what do we do? What do we do to impact change to leave a fingerprint in this generation with all the technology you got, with everything that's going on? What is it that we do to impact a dynamic change in the lives around us and lead people to a greater existence?
Be a bold example of truth.
Be a bold example. I like that. Let's clap it up for that. Be a bold example for truth, goddammit.
It's so much bullshit out here right now. So much BS, belief system, bullshit, same thing. They run hand in hand. That's out here. And we have to be an unapologetic example. Not with our words, with our actions. You can't profess to live this life and then something happens and like you get triggered. It's not in the triggering that you violate. It's that once you realize that you were triggered, that you don't own total responsibility.
Right.
So right now, I know if I ever take something personally, I don't care what happens after that. I'm responsible.
Right.
I don't care if somebody called me a nigger and I start to blow up and blah, blah, blah. As soon as I realized I took it personally, the fact that he called me a nigger means nothing because I took it personally.
Right.
So it's not the fact that you have to be perfect in the execution. You just have to be perfect in the accountability.
And accountability.
To what it is and what it's not.
Yeah.
So ownership in that example in a bold, bold way. That's what the world needs. That's what's going to change it because that's what shows people that it's possible. That this is not just something that we sit on the couch and we talk about. This is not just great conversation. This is not just content creation. This is real life, and we're applying it in real time and showing you real results. And by showing you real results, then we show you that it's possible for you. And you can only get it from coming inside. You can't see it. You can't contemplate it. You have to do it.
Right.
That's how we do it.
That's how we do it. That's the plan.
That's the only
That was
way
action.
to do it.
All right. Let's clap it up for that. Clap it up for that.
You are now tuned into the Greater Resistance Podcast with me, the Manifest Mentor, Brian Hyppolite.
What would you say has changed about your household since your wife joined Manifest University?
It's a lot more good energy, a lot more light, different conversations, less arguments, more communication, more openness.
I love that. Thank you.
It's not just a university. We are a tribe and a family. Join Manifest University today to be in my daily calls, my weekly classes, and a part of our 24/7 community. You can go to brianhyppolite.com or doyoumu.com to join Manifest University today.
Unless you create the necessary conditions, the things that you want will not happen. Nothing changes until you do. Now, that shouldn't be a problem. Embracing change for your betterment should always be embraced, but I understand that we are creatures of habit. We are prone to self-sabotage and many other things that pull us away from running towards our elevation, running towards creating that reality that we desire. We seem to want it to manifest in some other way other than us creating the conditions to allow it to be. So whatever it is that you want in your life, whatever it is that you want to see present in your life, begin to create the conditions that would allow it to be. Persuasion is a process. Power happens over time, just not in one moment. So if you have the power to make something happen and know that that's what you desire, then by all means, apply your plan. Turn your goal and your dream into a plan and walk it out. Let your intentions come to pass.
This is my love letter. I pray when you read it, every single word, you know that I mean it. You are a work of art. I stand in amazement, and I think what I'm saying is you're my favorite one of God's paintings. Welcome to the frequency that's all about turning you into a greater version of you. Welcome to the podcast that's offering you greater. You are now tuned into the Greater Existence Podcast with me, the Manifest Mentor, Brian Hyppolite.
I'm gonna ask you a tough question.
Okay.
Do you believe? No, you don't believe. I'm sorry. How do I say this without the word believe?
You can use it.
Okay, you're requalified. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you believe that accountability is a woman's kryptonite?
Well, all right.
Sources have said such.
Sources have said so. So, oh man, I'm about to get my ass in trouble right now. So, yeah, I'm about to get in trouble. So here's what I would say. I would say this. There was a guy named Kevin Samuels that recently passed, right?
That's where that quote came from.
And he was the one that put it out there. So, recently, I saw a couple of clips of his where, so this one clip, he was talking to a dude, and he said, I'm just gonna say, he said, "You got a big dick?" And the dude said, I'm all right. He said, "No, I didn't ask you if you're all right. Do you have a big dick?" He's like, do you have a big dick? Yes or no? And he was like, it's all right. He said, that means you don't have a big dick. See, big dick, if you have a big dick, he said, I know I got a big dick. I don't say, I got a big dick. You don't have a big dick, you broke, you're on the couch, you're overweight, and you expect some woman to want you and deal with you?
Yeah.
It's like, that's crazy. She can't even get a big dick out of the deal. So he's talking to this dude like this. There's another dude he's talking to like that. And you can tell this is older. He didn't get notoriety until he started saying those messages, those same type messages to women. So then it became, he's bashing women, he's women hating, he don't like his mama.
He's narcissistic.
He's
toxic.
He's toxic. He's promoting these bad ideas. All this stuff.
Yeah.
And I remember reading, when he passed, I remember reading an article about him saying how he was, he had been out for a while, and then he found the formula. And the formula was talking to women.
Yeah.
Dudes.
Because no one cared when he was talking to dudes.
No one cared, and dudes don't care.
Yeah.
We didn't get triggered.
Yeah.
No one got triggered enough to get him notoriety.
Right.
But as soon as he came up and said, rate yourself in the face with no makeup, out of the shower, from 1 to 10, you can't use 7.
Yeah.
Now everybody want to
be mad.
Because we don't want to look at what it actually is, right? So when you say accountability is women's kryptonite, that's an example that I can look to. I'm not going to say whether I believe it to be true or not. That's an example that I looked at recently that said, man, but let's talk about accountability in and of itself. This idea of accountability is, or especially someone holding you accountable, is a falsehood. No one can hold you accountable. The concept in and of itself is flawed. Like, who can hold you accountable? How can they hold you accountable? Bringing up to you what you're doing and what you're not doing? Like, no shit, I know that.
Right.
Like, oh, you told me, you reminded me that I didn't do what I said, and your point is, you still didn't do it.
You still didn't do it.
It's not a change. No one can force you into some form of accountability.
And most forms that people try to put you in are based in fear.
Right.
And you're moving off of the fear.
Very much so.
Yeah.
The fear of embarrassment, it actually creates like behaviors. I almost use the word toxic. It creates patterns of behavior that undermines your power, because what you're doing is you're saying that this one thing that is going to negatively influence you to actually get something done.
Yeah.
And which means it's disconnecting you from the power and the responsibility that you have in the first place.
Yeah.
So it gives the illusion that that you're supposed to that this thing is holding you accountable, but that's not really true. All it is when is it that you created enough meaning to decide for that to matter? Because if it does, and until you create enough meaning for something to matter, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter
at all. It just doesn't. So with ladies and this idea that, you know, the kryptonite, accountability is ladies' kryptonite, what it really is their inability to want to see life as it is. So a large part, and you saw this play out heavily when you're looking at his shows, is that there are certain behaviors that you saw consistently happening, which is an argument with what is. Stating factual situations about what is happening in the world and what are realities that you're having to face. You're actually facing them because you're literally fitting the stereotype of the archetype of what he's saying, and you're there and he's explaining to you exactly how this is happening, and you're wanting to be an argument with this thing that you are the living example of.
Right.
Instead
in
of
real time.
In real time.
Yeah.
Instead of just saying, wow, I don't like this, and that's perfectly okay, and saying, okay, what do I have to do to change it to the next and make something different? And again, this brings us back to, you know, therapy, right? It's this idea of, I can't deal with reality. The belief that you can't deal with reality. So we have to stair-step you, walk you through, bring you back, help you out, help you see, release and heal, and all these things so that we can deal with reality.
Yeah.
No. Reality is here. Oh man, I got something.
I go over there.
Yeah. This is something I want you all to hear and know and live, and this is the most powerful thing in the world. When it comes, so when we're talking about this and being able to deal with what is right now, and this is the answer. This is the answer to life change. This is the answer to greater existence. This is the answer to all of it. And anything that pulls you away from this reality right here is not here to serve you. It's here to hinder you. And this is a quote that comes out of a book called A Course in Miracles. And if you ever read that book, it is hands down one of the most fire books you will ever read. And I can't, at the same time, it's the most intimidating book I have ever picked up, meaning the length of it is thick like the Bible, with thin pages like the Bible. Like, it's like that. But every time I pick that book up, and I don't care where I flip, whatever chapter it is the absolute truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, unadulterated truth, right there for you to slap you in the ear. But here's the thing, it says, behold, my child, reality is here. It belongs to you, me, and God. It is perfectly satisfying to all of us. Only this awareness heals, because It is the awareness of truth.
Yeah.
Not running from that is the answer to it all. And whether women are more prone to run from that or not, I don't have enough observation to make that decision. But women, ask yourself, are you arguing with truth in front of you? Or are you willing to bold and stand greatly in the paint and say, hey, this is the reality. I don't like it. So the next step is to change.
Yeah.
Men, are you moving away from that masculinity? That hardcore, straight to the point, quality of masculinity. And finding yourself with the inability to look at reality, face it, and say, hey, I don't like it. I want to move different.
That's something to consider. Strong thing to consider.
Either one.
Yeah.
If we're honest, we all on both sides can level up as a whole. Our level of it, of addressing and looking at reality and truth,
Right.
and bringing it to the table. So,
Al Tutson, ladies and gentlemen, the time collapse guru. So excited to have my brother here. This elevation is real. It's nonstop. This has been another powerful episode of Great Existence Podcast. Tell them how they can get in contact with you.
At Tiger Success Inc. On all platforms.
And what is Tiger Success Inc? We kind of got to, talking about things. What is Tiger Success Inc?
Tiger Success Inc. is my company. And we're doing some great things there. We're putting some things out there. You'll see as they come in the near future here. But the biggest thing that I want you to know about Tiger is a name that represents the role model that I was talking about earlier. And where Tiger is an acronym that represents the 5 pillars in which how I live my life. And that's tough-minded individual gathering, earning results. The concept of tough-mindedness, which is being tough enough to get your mind out of the way and operate from your most powerful source. It's the building of the individual, where you understand that once you know what your power source is, then we need to operate in a way that maximizes that use of that power. And so we build the individual on principles. And we move them away from the BS, is also known as belief systems. And then when you have your power source and you haven't lost, and you keep that connection, that pure connection that allows you to use that power in an unfiltered way, then we want to expand that power with the principle of gathering, which is a partnership. How are you partnering to expand? How are you partnering? What's your relationship with people? What's your relationship with time? What's your relationship with your words? What's your relationship
I thought
with
you was
truth?
smoking. I thought we was about to go there. Okay. We about to have elevated consciousness for real in here. I thought we was going there, bro.
De-elevated consciousness. Yeah, but and the last one is, what's your relationship with truth? So as you can see, these are things that you can hear coming out in my conversation.
Yeah.
Because I live this shit.
Right.
I'm not new to this. I'm true
to
to
this. Because I've been doing this since the uterus.
There you go. There you go. There you go. Shit. That's what I'm talking about.
But the old school uncle out of the old school shit. Go ahead and play P-Knuckle. Shit.
And when you do those three things, it puts you in a position to do the last two, which is earn. And the E is what we do is we look at your relationship with earning, which has been bastardized so much with the idea of struggle and grind and all that stuff. And the last thing is results. And the results are last, not just because the R in Tigers last, it's because results are none of your business. And it's in that space that we fumble the ball at the 2-inch line. We can do it all right, and it's our relation, and it's how we deal with results is how we end up fumbling the ball. So Tiger is the acronym. So that's the 5 pillars in which I live my life. Then the word success. We talked about that already in this podcast. The realization of progress towards a worthy idea. So I'm taking the pillars and I'm living my life and I'm investing it towards a worthy idea. And so that I'm always connected to the fact that I'm successful. And then what I need to do, the last thing that this name is to remind you of is that it's the ink. It's incorporated because it's an incorporated business. But everything is what? The role model. You ask me, how do we change this world and bring them to a better existence? I say we have to role model truth. We have to be the living, unapologetic, strong example of truth. So the ink is not just the fact that it's incorporated, it's to remind you that you are a corporation. What is a corporation? A corporation is an entity that believes that it has value to bring to the world, and it's willing to exchange value for value. So that is the living example built into the name. So it's to remind you at all times that that's what you're supposed to be doing on this planet.
Tiger Success Inc. And this gentleman was the first person that I seen with their own metaverse. Before, I mean, this year in 2022, it's a more common thing, this new dimension of existence that you can operate in. But you were doing this about 2 years ago.
Yeah, it started coming into play then. And I just want to, the metaverse is the best example that we can give, but I don't really, Web3 and that whole concept, I'm sure that we will be there in some fashion or form. But I want us to know that what's real has always and always will be real. No matter what technology brings us, principle will always rule the day. And principle is connection, human connection. This right here, you can't replace this.
You can't. Because conversations change conversations.
Conversations change conversations.
Shout out to the queen.
Yes. So, a portal for us to be able to do this universally, because what happens is when we get into these spaces, it's becoming less common because more people are starting to realize that personal development is not an option. It's a lifestyle that you have to. It's personal development is becoming like compound interest. Those that understand it do it.
Yeah.
Those that don't
suffer from it. Yeah.
Not doing it. So we're seeing it where it's not. It's more common, but it's still. We have these places where we start to go into personal development, and the people around us they're not really with it. And so to have an environment where you can come and connect to when you don't have more people in your physical is the idea around Freedom City. And however, I always want to advocate, and I'm always going to create in a way that advocate this right here.
Yeah.
That's the clubhouse.
Right.
But this right here is what we looking to do.
Yeah.
We're looking to belly, to touch skins, to hug, to feel each other's energy right in this space and right in this moment, without the barrier of technology, because that is how you're able to consume more or consume it all.
Yeah.
It's the more senses that you can incorporate, the more you can consume. So yeah, that's Freedom City, and we're excited about a lot of things that we're doing with it, and looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to see it expand. Looking forward to everything that comes. My own disclaimer is that due to my commitment, I'm only able to get belly to belly with one person. Like, just due to that commitment we was talking about. I've been practicing what I preach lately, and they have faith that I'm only going to get belly to belly with them. But all that other shit you were talking about, I'm with it. I'm with it. The time collapse guru. Give it up for him one more time. You got something else you want to say, bro?
Here's what I really want to leave y'all with, is that there's nothing other than now. There's nothing other than now. And I had a client that was sharing some of the things that she learned with her friend. And because her friend had this tremendous story of childhood trauma, abuse, divorce, adult trauma, just all of the things that the psychological community gives us, right? And she was riddled with it. It was heavily a part of her story, heavily identified with it. And my client was trying to give her things, and she's like, "No, you don't understand. You've never been through what I've been through," and all that stuff. Then she got diagnosed with stage 3 cancer, and all of a sudden, she was healed from all that stuff. In an instant, the traumas didn't bother her. The divorce, the meanings, the abuse, all of that was irrelevant, because that diagnosis forced her into the now and what matters.
And what matters right now.
Don't wait until something like that happened to you before you recognize the truth.
Yeah.
That this is right now, and this is what matters right now.
Right now. I love that. Yeah.
That's what I leave you with.
That's what it's all about. The Greater Existence Podcast. Thank you so much for coming back here. Yeah. And this is exactly what it's about here. We both represent an amazing community called Manifest University. That's who you hear clapping in the background.
You!
All day, you know it. You already know, and we believe. We have faith. We are committed to breaking generational curses and creating generational wealth. And this, what you are experiencing, is an example of what we do on a daily basis. And what the Greater Existence Podcast is all about is bringing you elevated consciousness. There's a lot of people out here trying to bring you a lot of things. Every time you come here, you're going to get elevated consciousness. We go with the highest consciousness in the room.
Absolutely.
There's no egos involved, no agendas involved. We're going with the highest consciousness in the room, and we invite you to do so as well. Keep it locked. Get this podcast saved so that every time a new one comes out, you get that indication. Save it, like it, share it. Go to brianhyppolite.com for more info, more things that I have going on, the books, joining Manifest University, everything. The Greater Existence Podcast. Thank you so much for joining this episode. We look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Until then, be great, be powerful, be God's. Peace out.
Welcome to the frequency that's all about turning you into a greater version of you. Welcome to the podcast that's offering you greater. You are now tuned into the Greater Existence Podcast with me, the Manifest Mentor, Brian Hyppolite.